Okay, factor into simplest form. This is 5.4. Once you get in the groove of this, it's actually not hard. You have expression. Remember, factor means put it into as many parentheses as possible. So with two terms, you did the GCF dots, and then 3 terms GCFT. Oh, and this is 4 terms, by the way. Okay, haven't seen this. By the way, the 7x is supposed to be x to the second. X to the third plus 7x squared minus 9x minus 63. So, I have 4 terms now, so what do I do then? Well, you do a little thing called grouping. This is how grouping works. You want to set up things and then it goes a lot smoother. So you're going to make parentheses plus parentheses. Then you're going to put the same thing, but you're going to have little GCF lines outside your parentheses. Okay? So GCF, GCF. And then finally at the end, we're going to make a big parentheses and a little parentheses. Just right next to each other, it'll be a times, okay, between them. Now you're like, what happened to the plus? Well, it goes away. You'll see that. Okay, so first what I do is put the 1x to the third with the 7x to the second. Then you're going to put remember that's a negative 9x, so it's going to be negative 9x minus 63. You got to put that as a negative or the thing screws itself up. Now you look at the parentheses one at a time. You look at your GCF, the 3 things you check for. Does the last term have x? Yes, it does. It has actually x seconds, so you need to put x to the second. Now as far as a negative, do I need a negative? No, I don't, because that first term's positive. Now 1 and 7 is just a 1, but it's 1x squared. Now let's look at our 9 and our 63. Does the last term have x? No, it does not. Do I need a negative? Yes, because that's a negative right there. Then 9 and 63. Well, here's a 9, 63. Those are both in the 9th row, so that would be 9. Now I go up and divide by those GCFs. So divide by 1x squared, divide by 1x squared, then divide by negative 9. Okay, so 1 divided by 1 is 1. Remember, 3 minus 2 is 1, so it would be x to the first, which is just x. And then 7 divided by 1 is 7, and when the exponents are the same, those cancel. Now over here, I'm hoping I get the exact same thing. So negative 9 divided by negative 9 is 1. The x stays, and that's a negative 63 divided by a negative 9. And that's positive 7. Okay. Now, what about the last part? Now, the parentheses match. They're identical. So whatever's expression is inside each one of those goes out here. Now you can go cross those out. After you put that expression in there, you cross them out. And then you put 1x to the second, negative 9, but instead of writing plus negative, you write minus, okay? 1x to the second minus 9. Okay, so the grouping's done. You just got to check to see if you have any more dots at the end, okay? So you got 1x plus 7. Take that 1 off the x, just put x plus 7. If you have 1s in front, and just write x to the second minus 9. Okay, you really don't need those 1s. If it's a plus, you're not even thinking about it. There it is. That drops down into your final answer. If it's a minus, you got to look at it. Is x to the second a perfect square? Well, yeah, because it's x times x. 9, is that a perfect? Yeah, it's 3 times 3, so that's a difference of perfect squares. Okay, so I make 2 parentheses, 1 plus, 1 minus, and I just go x3, x3. Okay, the plus 1, drop it like it's hot. The minus, at least look, but that's just x, okay? I can't break down just an x. It has to have an even power. So that's prime 2. Okay, so once I can't do it anymore, those are my 3 factors. X plus 7 times x plus 3 times x minus 3. Okay, we have x to the third power minus 2x to the second power minus 16x plus 32. Once again, there's 4 terms. Okay, so I'm going with the grouping. So I set up my parentheses, the sum of my two parentheses, and then the sum again, but the GCFs will be pulled out of each parentheses. Okay, then I will have big parentheses, little parentheses with a times between them. Okay, so first I put 1x to the third minus 2x to the second, then I put negative 16x plus 32. Okay, and now GCFs, so let's look in the first parentheses. You check for x. Do you have x on the last term? You do. X second, so you need to put x second. Next, you need a negative. No, I don't. That's a positive. Okay. Now, take the coefficients 1 and 2. It'd be a 1. Okay. Okay, now let's go into the second one. Well, does your last term have x? No, it doesn't. Don't put an x. So last term negative or positive. It's a negative, so you need a negative. And then 16 and 32. Here's 16, here's 32, so they'd be 16. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and divide by the 1x second, and then negative 16. So 1 divided by 1 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1, so it'd be x to the first or x, minus 2, 2 minus 2, 0, those cancel. Don't put x if it ends up as 0. Okay, and that's going to be 1x, negative 2, so minus 2, and we have a match there. So 1x minus 2 is going to come out here, okay? And then here I put 1x to the second and negative 16, or 1x to the second. Don't write plus negative. If it's plus negative, you write it as minus. Okay, now we check for dops again. So we put 1x minus 2, or just x minus 2, don't keep that 1 there. And then x to the second minus 16. Because that 1 is a barrier for the dops. Now, we got minuses in both these, so the minus you check, but that's just x without a power, so that gets dropped. That cannot be factored into a difference of perfect squares. That's got a minus, and x times x on the x squared, and then 16 is 4 by 4. So you bet that goes into a dops. Plus, minus, so x, x, then 4, and 4. The one with the plus, you drop it. The one with the minus, you just look at it, okay? X doesn't have a power, so we can't factor that now. It's x minus 4. So we got x plus 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 4. Okay, example 3, we have x to the third power plus 4x to the second power minus 9x minus 36. Okay, so grouping, because it's 4 terms. Now the same thing, I just basically copied the same thing, I just put GCFs outside. Okay, then big parentheses, little parentheses, times. Okay, so we have 1x to the power of 3 plus 4x to the power of 2. Then we have negative 9x minus 36. Okay, got x on the last term? Yep, it's to the second power. Is that a positive or a negative there? It's positive, so we'd make that, leave it positive. Then 1 and 4 would be 1. Okay, then we're going to check this out. We do not have an x on that final term, so no x there. You have a negative on your first, your first term's a negative, so you need to put a negative, and then 9 and 36. Here's 9, here's 36, are in the 9th row. Don't do 3, they're in the 9th row. Okay, then we're going to go up and divide by 1x second, and we're going to divide here by the negative 9 we're factoring out. And that's going to be 1. 3 minus 2 is 1, so it'd be x plus 4, 2 minus 2 is 0. That's 1x, and that's plus 4. Okay, so within each parentheses you have 1x plus 4. That's gone, and then we have 1x to the second minus 9. Okay, now carry those parentheses over, and we want to see if we have any dots that we can break down. Okay, so I've got x plus 4, and then x to the second minus 9. Ones can be dropped if they're coefficients in front of the x. The one with the plus drops. It cannot be factored. Okay, the one with the minus, you got to check. X second can be factored into x times x, and 9 can be 3 times 3. So you bet that goes down. So after I see that I have a minus and that these are both perfect squares, plus minus, so it's x plus 3, x minus 3. Now go through them again. Plus, drop it. X plus 3. It has a minus, but it's just x. With x without a power, it can't be factored. Okay, x plus 4 times x plus 3 times x minus 3. Okay, next problem, we got x to the third power minus 3x to the second power plus 6x minus 18. Once again, that's 4 terms. So grouping. Then the same thing with the GCF lines outside. I should be putting the GCF so you know what I'm trying to do here. Out of each parentheses. Okay, 1x to the third minus 3x to the second. Then you have 6x minus 18. Okay, so let's talk about the 1 and the 3. The first one, well, last term, you got x to the second. Okay, you put, if that, whatever, first you do the variable check. Now, that's a positive in front, so it's positive, and then 1 and 3 would be 1. Okay. Then you look in here. Do you need an x? No, because that last term doesn't have it. You need a positive or a negative. It's a positive, and then I go 6 and 18. Okay, so here's 6, here's 18, that's 6. Okay, so I roll a 6 out. So the GCF in that expression is 1x to the second, GCF in that expression is 6. So I divide each by 1x second. It's going to be 1. 3 minus 2 is 1, so that's x, and then minus 3. And then I go divide by 6 here. Okay, and that's the same thing, 1x minus 3. So within each of my parentheses, I have the expression 1x minus 3. Okay. And in the second parentheses, I put 1x second plus 6. Okay, let's bring those over here. Just x minus 3 and x to the second plus 6 will do well. Okay, the one with a plus, drop it. Can't do anything with it, even though it's x second. Yeah, it's x, again, plus disqualifies it. Minus, you got it. Okay, but the x has no power, so that's it. So that one I couldn't do, adopts. Okay, last two. This one here is kind of a bear. I don't think I was this mean to you on the assignment. X to the fifth power minus 3x to the fourth power minus 16x plus 48. Okay, so again, 4 terms. Gonna write grouping. Same thing. It's the exact same thing. You just got little GCF lines popping out of there. Okay, and then big parentheses, little parentheses, or just 2 parentheses. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Then 1x to the fifth minus 3x to the fourth, and then negative 16x plus 48. 3 things you check for in a GCF. Is your last term have x? Yes, it's to the fourth. Now, negative or positive? It'd be positive because that's positive. 1 and 3 would just be 1. So I know I'm going to factor out a 1x to the fourth from that. Okay, do you have an x on the last term? No, so don't put x. Negative or positive? Oh, it's a negative, so we need negative. Now look at 16 and 48. Look in the 16th row first. There's 48, so 16. Okay, now you go up and divide by those GCFs. And that 1x to the fourth, 1x to the fourth. Negative 16, negative 16. So it's going to be 1. 5 minus 4 is x to the first, which is just x, minus 3. 4 minus 4, cancel them. Don't even put x. Okay, then over here I'm going to get the same thing. That's 1x, and that's minus 3. Okay, so you have 1x minus 3, 1x minus 3. Okay, then you have 1x to the fourth minus 16. Okay, now carry those over here. Okay, more dops, question mark. You're checking each of those parentheses for dops. Okay, well they both have minus, so I got to check them both. That's don't put ones in front. That's stupid. Sorry. Okay, got a minus. Now that x right there is not to a power, so I guess I'm not doing anything with it. How about this x here? Okay, well it's x fourths, so that's x to the second times x to the second. 16 is a perfect square. That's 4 times 4, so you're doing it. Plus minus, okay, x squared 4, x squared 4. The one with the plus, drop it like it's hot. Now we still got a minus there, and I think x to the second is x times x, and the 4 is 2 by 2, so guess what? Do it again. x2, x2. Okay, so the plus is done. And we still have a minus there, but now the x no longer has a power, so that's done. Okay. Man, that one went along for a while. X minus 3 times x to the second plus 4 times x plus 2 times x minus 2. I don't think I was that mean on your assignment. Okay. Okay, 9x to the third power minus 18x to the second power minus x. I would put a 1 as a coefficient there, plus 2. Okay, so grouping. Okay, so we have 9x to the third power minus 18x to the second power. Then you're going to have negative 1x plus 2. Okay, remember what we checked for on the GCF parts. Okay, place the GCFs outside. Look in your first quantity. Do you have x on that last term? You do. You have x second. Do you have a negative or positive? It's positive. Now 9 and 18. So here's 9, here's 18. You got to do 9. Okay. Let's come over here. Do I have an x on that last term? No, I don't, so do not put x. Do I have a negative in front of that first term? I do, so I need a negative. And then 1 and 2 is 1, but it's negative 1. So we're going to come up here and divide by 9x to the second. We're going to come up here and divide by the negative 1. Okay. So 9 divided by 9 is 1. 3 minus 2 is x. X to the third, x second is x to the first, which is x, minus 2, and those cancel. Here I get, don't put an x on that 2. That's going to be 1x minus 2. Okay, so the parentheses match, so 1x minus 2 comes out here. And then the remaining factor is 9x to the second plus negative 1. But just write minus 1, because otherwise you won't see the minus there, because plus negative means minus. Now we need to see if these are dots at the end. So 1x minus 2, 9x to the second minus 1. Okay, I don't really see a plus, so gosh, I keep putting those 1s. Okay, you got to keep the 9. Okay, you can't just cross out a 9. 1 in front of an x could be. Now this might have a minus, but the x has no power, so that is a prime factor. It's done. It's been prime factorized. Okay. That's got a minus. Now 9, the 9's hanging there. That's 3 times 3. And 9 has an x to the second behind it, so that's x times x. So I just apply an x on those 3's. And the 1 is a 1 times 1. Okay? So you bet that goes down. Kind of make branches so you can see where you're coming from. So 3x and 1, 3x and 1. Now the one with the plus drops down. The one with the minus, 3 ain't a perfect square. I know that I run into problems right away with the 3, and even if that was a 4, the x doesn't have a power. So times, and there we go.